and voila.
Woo! Et voila.
And
So
voila.
I give it a second because we will be live on LinkedIn Live,
Oh,
live on Facebook, my
oh,
personal page, my other page on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter. We are live on Periscope and Twitch.
wow. That is a lot of live. We're a lot
I
of
know.
live.
We are
That's a lot
taking
of
the
live.
world by storm. So we had a little technical glitch. Some of you may have been like, it's 5 o'clock. Where are these lovely ladies? Well, we decided to arrive at our own time.
Well, you're theatrical. Of course, you have to make your audience wait for you, right?
Yes. So thank you so much for tuning into the Yolanda Shoshana live stream. And I always bring on the best people I can. And today I have Susannah Gold, who I affectionately call Goldie. I don't know. I think she knows this. Uh, and she is wonderful. She is the founder and creatrix of Vigneto Communications. Welcome, 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 Susannah.
Well, thank you, for sharing your platform with me, Yolanda.
Oh
I'm
my
happy to
gosh.
see you.
Yes.
It's such
And
a
we're
long time. I haven't seen you in person. I see all of these beautiful shots of you about town, all of your nice, I don't know what you do to your Instagram posts, but you've always got like this beautiful patina on it, and it's always very interesting. And you've
well,
been
I
so
try.
busy.
Well, lately I feel like I have been. Lately, I don't know, and lately a few of live events have come back into play. And speaking of live events, I miss yours. So the one thing I have to say about Susannah is when I think of Italian wine, I think of her. And she does some of the best pairing lunches and dinners, like your pairings. She'll prepare like a really great pairing menu. And I always so look forward to the wines and the food.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Italy is my great passion.
I know. And we're gonna talk about sonnets and wine and Italy. I want to ask you, how did Italy become your passion? Because I'm not sure I actually know that story.
Oh, okay. How did Italy become my passion? So,
Besides the sexy men and the wine.
apart from the sexy men and the great wine and the beautiful art and the gorgeous language and the fantastic landscapes, I always tell people that Italy kind of just feels to me like clothing that I can put on and just fits me, right? From the moment I set foot in Italy, I felt that way about Italy. I was like 15, I think, the first time I went, and I was with my parents, and we were in Venice, and I was drinking too much at 15 because my father's a teetotaler, basically, and my mother and I were drinking wine, and I just thought, oh my God, this is a place I want to live. And my mom is an artist and a sculptor, and she studied the Etruscans, the ancient people in the 8th century BC who founded central Italy and, in fact, expanded viticulture. So I always tell people that it was sort of like, and she was in graduate school at Columbia with me at the time studying the Etruscans. So I always say that it was kind of like just part of mother's milk, right?
That's fun.
Interested in Italy. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So do you know how many times you've even been to Italy at this point? Because I feel like every time I would be looking, you'd be going like every other week before.
Well, do you not know? I lived there for 15 years. Did you know that? Yes.
Yes, you did tell me that, but we never really got into that. Like, what part did you change areas, or were you in one particular place?
Like most Americans, when I first moved to Italy, I moved to Tuscany, and I lived in Florence. I love art, so Renaissance art in particular. So it was perfect. And I had this fantasy that I was going to become a gold leafer or a restorer, whatever. I was in law school in New York, and I took a leave of absence, and I moved to Italy, and I took this gold leafing class. And needless to say, I ended up working for an attorney in Florence, and my gold leafing career lasted for 3 weeks. But that was about it. So after I lived in Florence, I went to graduate school in Bologna, and then I lived in Milan for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know about this law situation. That's very interesting.
But I don't think I told you I went to law school.
No. So where did wine come in? Clearly, you were probably sipping it when you were in Italy, but where did the getting into wine?
Sure. So thank you for asking me. I'm always asking somebody else what their wine story was. So my dad, when I was young, as I said, he's a teetotaler, but he made wine in our basement.
What?
We were the next door neighbor from
Okay, Mr. Gold. Mr. Gold make wine.
absolutely, Mr. Gold makes wine. And I found an old bottle of the wine that he made, actually. And so he made wine with our next door neighbor or a friend in the neighborhood who was from Sicily. He was from a town called Ragusa, like in the eastern tip of Sicily.
Mhm.
And so they made wine in our basement. And my father also bought out a liquor store in the town because he was buying the real estate property. And he bought the entire inventory of the store also. So when I
Oh
was
wow.
growing up, we always had loads of wine in the house. And as I said many times, my dad, he loves Amarone. He likes sweet wine also, but he's not a big drinker. My mother, on the other hand, always was drinking Matus and Lancers, those wines. And so we always drank wine in my house. And when I was growing up, my father loved France, and everything was always better
Hmm.
there. So my first love was France. I was a Francophile.
That's new information as well. I did not know this. So speaking of wine, let's talk about the wines we have now. The wine I'm drinking is one that you sent to me, actually, eh? Beautiful Skulls.
I love the bottle. And you had asked me, about a year at least ago at that lunch at Il Gatto Pardo, and I had not been able to get them to you. So I was so excited to get them to you for Halloween. Aren't those pretty amazing?
Beautiful labels. The labels are stunning. So these wines, Cape Mort, is that the right way to say this?
I think that is the right way to say it. It's sort of in dialect, Capemort, like I think it's the
Yeah.
skull, right?
Yes. So Cape Mort, when you look, they say it's about the alchemy and the legends in Naples, and
Right.
the labels are stunning because besides this, they've got other beautiful skull labels. So it's perfect for Shakespeare, of course.
Perfect.
And this is okay. I'm gonna get this.
Aglianico.
John Nico. See, whenever I'm talking to Susannah, she's got the perfect Italian, and I'm always like, I'm gonna say it wrong. Angelico. Great, great. I'm really enjoying this. It's jammy, blackberries, and it's got violets. I really like this, and I've got my
Oh my God,
skull
look at your
glass.
glass.
Oh
I
yeah,
love it. I love
you
that.
know I love skulls,
I know.
so
Oh my God, I love that glass.
yes,
That's
I
amazing.
love this.
I love that. Aglianico, so it's the main red grape variety in Campania. It
Mhm.
also grows in Basilicata, and in particular, it grows from in Irpinia, which is where these wines come from that you're drinking, Capemort. And if have you ever been to Naples yet? Have you been to Naples?
No, I would love to go to
When you
Naples.
go to Naples, there's a whole cult of skulls, and in fact,
Oh,
there's this church that's filled with skulls on the outside. So apparently, there were all these skulls that had people who had been buried, but didn't have their family to bury them. So there were these skulls that had no family to come and honor them, and so that townspeople in Naples would each family would adopt a skull.
mm.
You pray to the skull, like
Oh, nice.
good fortune to this particular skull. So there's skulls all over the place in Naples. So this is really a
Oh my
great
God,
wine
I
that's
would love it.
so linked into that. And it comes from Donna Chiara. And you've had their wines. You've met Ilaria.
I've met her. She's lovely. She looks like a model.
She,
She's
she does.
stunning.
She
She's
does. She is.
gorgeous.
She
Shout out
is.
to her.
Yeah,
Yes.
she is. So Francesco, her partner, this was his project. He's from Naples. He's from this particular neighborhood in Naples. I think it's called Fontanelle. And together they created this project. And they're also like really fashionable and interested in art. So
Yeah.
the paintings, remember what she was wearing, like the funkiest
Oh yeah.
clothing? Like every time I'm near her, I'm wearing like black and
Yeah. She's very
sweaters,
stunning.
and she's
Yeah.
like wearing the latest, like one time I was at a tasting with her, she looked like the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah. She's very fashionable and beautiful and
So
yeah.
so there's this Sicilian artist whose name is Alex Caminiti, who did paintings from which those labels are taken.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. They just have such an interesting vibe. The whole label and what they're doing. But I don't think these wines are not really available in the U.S. though,
No,
right?
not well. Donna Chiara is available, but
Yeah.
Capemort is not available. But
Yeah.
you were getting the anteprima of those wines because
Hey,
you have that whole connection.
I do. I do.
When
Though
you
I don't
said
mind.
that, I was like, I've got to get her those wines.
I know. Thank you. I don't mind going there to have them either. I guess I'll just have to go to Italy to have more of this wine.
I know. No, they're going to be bringing them in this year. Their importer is called Michelangelo Imports, but they haven't done it
Okay,
yet.
great. Okay, well, that's good to know.
They just got all the labels. But they are on Instagram a lot.
Oh, yes.
Chris was on it a lot, and he's funny.
Yeah. So what are you drinking?
So I'm drinking a Montepulciano. I didn't have a bottle of what you're drinking. I gave it to you. I did keep one for myself. And I finished all of Ilaria's wines that I had. I sent them out to people, and I finished the ones that I could drink. And I am drinking a Montepulciano from Abruzzo.
Mm-hmm.
And next week, I'm actually doing a masterclass on Abruzzo.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming virtually?
Virtually, yes. I'm doing it virtually with Wine to Wine, the Italian trade show.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to drink some Montepulciano from Abruzzo.
Oh, I can see your video. I may be able to see that, actually.
Yes. It's not.
Yes.
It's Colangelo is I'm doing it for their client.
Well, someone sent me information. I can sign up for other things, so I may be able to see that. I will have to look for that. Or Colangelo, hook me up. I know all of y'all.
I know you all of them. All of y'all. I know you know all of them. Who doesn't, frankly? Anyways,
I know.
I'm drinking a Montepulciano because
that's a great type of wine. I'm in love with. I was supposed to go to Abruzzo this year, but COVID. But I love that wine. It's like one of my favorites to just sip and savor.
I really like this wine. And in fact, what's interesting about this particular bottle is not one that I'm having in the tasting that we're supposed to be doing. It's called Tenuta Pescherina. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I have had this wine for years this is a 2014 Montepulciano. And I know the winemaker, at least he was the winemaker at the time. His name is Roberto Cipresso. He's you can't really see because it's very white, but it's called Tenuta Pescherina. And the winemaker's name is Roberto Cipresso. And he had them send me this wine, and I had never opened it. And so I just opened it, and it's beautifully fresh and jammy and acidic and has great minerality, and it's perfect for this freezing November day.
Yeah, it's a little.
I was on the beach like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a little much today.
Yeah, why?
I don't know, darling. But when a little bit later, I want to ask you about good wines to drink as it gets colder. But right now, let's get to the man we came here to talk about.
I would love that. So can I show off to you my big boy? Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Okay. For those of you, she said this is her book from college. For those of you who may not have had to study Shakespeare in college, the Riverside Shakespeare was the mothership book. And I'm upset that I got rid of mine. That's what I did when I was in theater. I do have one now, too. The Globe Shakespeare.
Okay, all right. Wait, don't you think you're going to update me?
I forgot I had this till you pulled up your big book, so I got something big in my place, too.
Yeah, I see
but
that.
I'm going to stick to my little cheap version of, we're talking sonnets. And so you're a big fan of so first of all, what's your relationship to Shakespeare? Did you like Shakespeare growing up? Did you go see a lot of plays?
So my relationship to Shakespeare is I have very erudite parents, and they were quoting Shakespeare my whole life. And so all of this stuff in my mind that I didn't know was necessarily from Shakespeare just kind of got into common parlance in my life. So I started out that way, and my best friend from childhood, her name is Cordelia.
Oh, stop.
Yes, her name is Cordelia. So,
okay.
So, King Lear, of course,
yeah.
And my father had a boat for 5 minutes, and he called it Bottom's Dream. So there's all this stuff in my family that's very Shakespeare oriented. I personally studied Shakespeare in college because I was an English major, and I liked Shakespeare. I saw a number of plays, but I wasn't going to Shakespeare all the time. Would you believe, as a New Yorker, I have never gone to Shakespeare in the Park? Literally, never.
You're not the only one. I talk to a lot of New Yorkers who have never gone, but definitely something you should do with your son as he gets older.
I mean, I feel, it's one of those things like you've never seen Shakespeare in the Park. What kind of a New Yorker are you? It's like, you've never seen The Wizard of Oz. Are you American? Anyway, so that's part of my relationship to Shakespeare. But my relationship to Shakespeare, apart from being very interested in your relationship to Shakespeare, watching you talk about it all the time, started again during COVID because Patrick Stewart reads sonnets every day. And so I found that one day, and I found it incredibly touching and relaxing and emotional to listen to him every day reading sonnets in his chair, with his dog or cat. I think he has a cat hopping up on his lap. And it's been a real pleasure to listen to him with that beautiful British accent go through all of the sonnets, right? What could be bad?
Yeah.
And the last Shakespeare play I saw Macbeth with Alan Cummings.
Ooh, was he Macbeth?
Yes, he was everybody. It was a one-man show. He did the whole show.
Oh, I remember.
Like 5 years ago, 7 years ago.
Okay, how he played Okay.
He played everything, and
okay,
it was unbelievable. So I go up and down. I mean, I remember when I was living in Italy, I saw a production of King Lear with a dear friend of mine, and it was, one of the most memorable plays I've ever seen.
Right.
I am not a person who could wax poetic about every play, so don't test my knowledge, please.
It's all good. It's all good. No, you don't have to be. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's got their own relationship to Shakespeare. Some people have only seen movies. Some people don't even realize they're seeing an adaptation, and that's the fun of what Shakespeare is, because I think Shakespeare can be fun. I hated Shakespeare in high school, then I went to theater school and then fell in love. So, you never know when it may hit you. So the sonnets. Why did you pick sonnets?
I picked sonnets because of Patrick Stewart, and because because of Patrick.
No, I know. Okay.
And also because the way my life is, I'm a single parent of a small child. A sonnet is an amount of information and thinking that I have time to do while I'm having a glass of wine or I'm doing stuff. It's just like I like to read short stories.
Yeah. Okay.
It's about my ability to be relaxed enough to think about it, because I remember when I was in college and I was studying poetry and Shakespeare and Chaucer and all of that stuff that you have to study in order to get a degree in English. I was not necessarily patient enough to kind of wade through all of the material and let it soak in so that you understood what you were learning.
Right.
Whereas sonnet, even though it's in Old English, is more immediate, right?
Yeah.
And I like the rhythms of them.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And like, sometimes, like you said, your parents were quoting Shakespeare. Like, I will be watching a Shakespearean show and then somebody says something and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that was in Shakespeare. There's so much of that. Like, there's so much borrowed language from whether it's sonnets. So you picked 16 and 18, correct?
I picked 15 and 18.
15 and 18.
I picked 15 and 18. And
18, I kind of feel like I got more like, why did you pick 15? Or maybe I read the wrong sonnet.
Well, when the sonnets that I picked, I didn't realize that they were kind of about, homoerotic, I think, love. It wasn't
all good.
to me. That wasn't what it was about to me.
No, it doesn't have to be.
The reason I picked these sonnets is because it was about sort of the impermanence of time and, aging and life. And because this is such a sort of intense period of time with COVID and so much seriousness and so much death, let's be honest, every time I turn on the news, and there's so much. So the idea of kind of, the ephemeral nature of life. And as I said, I have a little kid and he's a boy, and watching him grow. And, that's kind of, it was about the beauty of watching a young person flourish. About love. I mean, these are sonnets about love, right?
Yeah, I like that. When I consider every little thing that grows, Holes in perfection, but a little moment. I actually like that.
Yes. Yes, because I find that it's something that sometimes I forget, we're so busy. We're always
Yeah.
running through everything. We're churning through information and material and time and experiences. Even like if you're out at a tasting, let's say, right?
Yeah.
You're like, hi, got to taste this one.
Yeah.
You don't have kind of that time to sort of be. And
Yeah.
with a little kid, every moment is something new to explore and discover. But you have to
Mhm.
be amazingly patient, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They have their own rhythms.
Well, I think like you said, and like with these two lines, like I think we're all learning how to be patient again, whether we like it or not, which has been a challenge for a lot of people. I've done pretty well during this time. It's given me time to relax, be calm, think, and be creative. And now, as we approach another lockdown, I was going to go to Philadelphia, New Jersey and be with people. And now I think that's not happening. And, I'm sad, but then I'm like, all right, that gives me time to write something. So I'm already like, how can I be still, but also be present in this time? Yeah.
Did you jump into that way of thinking immediately, or did it take a while?
I don't think I think I was just okay being by myself, which I think was really, it just took me like, okay, what do I do? Then finally I said, well, what am I going to do? I was okay with being by myself, which some people are not. I was like, all right, great. I can wear my pajamas all day. I have no problem with that. Or now I get to just chill a little bit. Then my mind goes a little bit much because I don't sleep that much. And I am up till 3 sometimes, whatever. So then that's when the
Call
creativity.
me. I mean, we could do another one at 2:30. I'm up all the time. I don't.
We could do the after hours version, right? We could.
Absolutely. I still haven't watched that show you told me about.
You need to. Well,
I know. I can't remember what it was called, but anyway.
You got it. Power. You got to watch Power.
Power. Thank you, Power.
Everybody. Okay, we're gonna get off topic for a second. If you have not watched Power, you must. It's very sexy. But keep your kids out of the room because you might have to explain some things if you. So, okay. What else did you like about this sonnet? Was there something else that struck you in this one?
So I liked, hold on.
This wine, by the way, as it opens up, is really,
amazing,
it gets
right?
even better. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I like this. To change your day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new. I like the idea of eternity, right?
Yeah.
I like that idea. I like the idea that people live on. I like the idea that ideas live on, that love lives on.
Yeah.
I like the idea of afterwards, whatever that afterwards is.
Yeah.
So that kind of that knowledge and time. I find that this sonnet and sonnet 18 are about the passage of time. I have a hard time with time in general. Like, I don't know that I am in tune with real time, like how much time goes by. I'm missing a word to explain what I'm trying to say. But you know what I mean? I sometimes I find that I think no time has passed and many years have passed since something happened, or something seems really far away to me, but it was kind of recent. Like, I'm not sure that the way I live time is the way that time actually goes. Does that make sense?
That's fair. Yeah. Well, we in the psychic world, we in the psychic witchy world would talk about then how.
Oh my God, I forgot I'm talking to a witchy person. I'm telling you these things about me. Oh no. I'm afraid of the tarot. I'm afraid of tarot cards.
Okay. We'll do an after dark on you being afraid of the tarot. Like, why?
I'm afraid of the tarot. I don't know. I'm afraid of the tarot. And the Neapolitans and the Sicilians and the Italians in general believe in all that very heavily.
I know.
They're very into that. In fact, I have a deck of tarot cards. I've never used them because I wouldn't know how anyway. But yeah,
that's an Italian. It's an Italian deck. I'm assuming it's an Italian deck. That's sexy. I'm gonna cheers to that. But as a side note, the whole we say that our spirits and our physical body are normally like hours apart, which is why sometimes people aren't present in relationships or certain things that they're doing. Like creative people tend to be like away from each other. Like in creativity, I may be sitting and talking to you, but I may be 4 hours ahead someplace else. It's also why when people travel and they go back home, they feel like they left a piece of themselves somewhere, because you technically are. You've got to pull your energy back in. So it's all about, so that makes sense. You always have a lot going on, and you always have, like a piece of you is probably still in Italy and always will be. And then that's, yeah. So that makes sense.
Always.
It makes total sense.
That's why these sonnets meant something to me, because they're about time and growth and about love and loss and, life.
So sonnet number 18.
Sonnet number 18 is the much more famous one, right?
And I love it. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
It's so beautiful. And you can think about that with wine. Like, shall I compare thee to a Vermentino?
Right.
Day, right?
Right. Right. So speaking of wine again, you have a love for Laguna?
Lugana, I do.
Lugana.
I love the Laguna too, but I love Lugana.
I know.
Yes, I love Lugana. I'm their brand ambassador for.
Yes.
I'm on year 6. I love Lugana, and you haven't had any Lugana in a while. I should send you some Lugana for the holidays.
I am happy to have that. You really kind of like right around the time you started talking about it, there were events around it, and I just was like, where has this wine been my whole life? Then I ended up having a sparkling rosé from that area, and I cannot remember the winery right now off the top of my head. And it was
Chiaretto, or you mean the Franciacorta rosé, or
I told you about it. It's been a while since I've had it. It was just me. I was like the only media person there. They invited me, and I met. This wine was so beautiful. I have to look it up and tell you. It's been a while since I had it. It was just really beautiful.
Well, Lake Garda is an incredibly beautiful part of Italy, and it doesn't get sort of the amount of play in America. I mean, it's filled with Germans. The Germans love Lake Garda. In fact, everyone around Lake Garda speaks German. But there's so many lovely wine regions there. I mean, Lugana for white wine, Chiaretto on the western side and the Lombardy side of the lake, which is beautiful wines made from Gropello and Barbera. And then there's also Bardolino Chiaretto, which maybe you're talking about, from the other side of the lake, that's based on Corvina, Rondinella, the grapes from Valpolicella area. Those great wines. There's also Custozza. I mean, there's so many great wines around Lake Garda. And of course, the farther you go from Lake Garda, if you go towards the Veneto, then you get into Valpolicella. And if you go towards Lombardy, you get into Franciacorta, right?
Yeah.
Amazing,
which has great sparkling wine. I love wine.
Sparkling wine.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's, but Lugana, I discovered Lugana through a friend who, we pitched a project together, which we didn't get, but I tasted my first Lugana, and it was like 2009. And then I went to Vinitaly, and I went to the Lugana table, and I tasted like 80 Lugana. I think I tasted all the Lugana possible. And then years went on, and through different channels, I had the opportunity to start to work with them in 2015. Yeah. It's been a long love affair.
Yes, beautiful wines. And now, how available would you say are the wines for those who are people who have not tried
Lugana? Yeah. Not all producers are available, but a lot more is available. I mean, I started to learn about Lugana in 2009. I started really working with them in 2015, and there were about 9 million bottles of Lugana made. Now there are about 23 million bottles of Lugana.
Okay, that's a nice jump. That's good.
It's a big jump, and a lot of it is sold abroad. So there's a lot more Lugana here, and in fact, a lot of producers who make wines in the Veneto, like Marilisa Allegrini or Zenato, also make Lugana. Right? They also have vineyards in the Lugana area, and they also make Lugana. Zenato is very famous, I'm sure, very available by Winebow. And many other smaller producers are also available. Tomasi Cadefrati is a very famous Lugana that's been here for a long time. There are a lot of great Lugano producers. Really.
Yes.
I
I
love
actually
all my
have
children the same.
I have a bottle of Sonnatto in my apartment.
Well, there you go. There you go. There you go. So yeah, I mean, they're just great wines.
Yeah.
And they'll
So
be perfect with turkey. Perfect.
What if you don't do turkey?
They'll be perfect with lasagna. What do you do? What do you eat?
Well, I like the sides. That turkey, like I may have a little bit, but I'm not really turkey. But I love like the dressing and the green beans and the rolls and the everything. But like I'm not a real turkey person.
Do you like cranberry relish?
No.
Do you like sweet potatoes?
Yes. That okay. I'm just checking in,
Perfect.
and also
Or
also
on
for
its
the,
own. I mean,
also for the people. Also for the people who may not eat meat. So I'm like, because technically I'm very kind of vegetarian-ish on Thanksgiving, which is very interesting. I'm not a vegetarian, but I don't do a lot of meat for Thanksgiving for some reason. I never have.
Lamb is a white wine that has a lot of minerality, it's got a lot of sapidity, it's got a lot of texture. And if it's a superiore style of it, then it has a little more structure. Mostly it's done in stainless steel and not in oak. Right. But it's a wine that usually goes through lees stirring, so it has nice creamy texture to it as well. And I think that would be perfect with many foods, or even on its own. I mean, I know I work with them, but it is really a fantastic wine, as you know, because you've had it many times.
I have, and I did see like before the shutdown, I saw a bigger push. Like I felt like people were talking more about it, or some of the winemakers were coming and talking a little bit more and trying to make it a little bit more of a destination for people, saying, "Come visit us. We're here."
It's a destination. It's the most. I mean, Lake Garda is beautiful, and you can
It is beautiful.
hike. You can go on a boat. You can go to Venice, which is nearby. There are art cities even on the lake. You can water ski. They have amazing windsurfing on the higher part of the lake towards the casino because the wind is so steady.
Right.
I mean, Lake Garda is just great. It's fishing, boating, like any of that, biking, hiking. I mean, it's just, it's Italy. It's perfect. I mean, everything. Right?
Italy is perfect. You're just an ambassador for it. Italy is perfect. So the sonnet, back to the sonnet real quick.
Right. Sorry, back to the sonnet.
No. This is how we do it. I go back and forth, incorporating a little bit of shakes with the what else about this? I mean, this is a more popular sonnet. Most people have heard this, even if they don't know that it's Shakespeare.
I love the beginning. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day is so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
If you love somebody to say that to you, I would.
I would.
Thou art more lovely and more temperate. But, then he talks about rough winds, right?
That's love, baby.
Darling buds of May.
That's love. I'm going to drink to that. That's love.
Yeah. And then sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. So sometimes it's too hot. But I love the fact that the sonnet talks about nature. And, and that's also one of the reasons why I love the wine business. I love the fact that it's a product that's natural and based on nature, and every year is different, and every wine is different, and everything really depends on where it grows, right? I love that. I mean, I find that endlessly interesting. No matter, I just took my 27th, certification in Italian wine. I mean, I don't really need it. I have every other one, but I was like, you know what? I want to study this all over again, and I want to study it differently, and I want to study it even more in depth in this particular area. And every time I study with a different wine school, I learn something new.
I'm sure. I mean, and you're very passionate, like I said.
Yeah.
I think of Italian wine, I think of you. Like I'm always like, all right.
I like that. Well, yeah, it's the great passion of my life, except for my son.
And how you love to speak Italian, which that's a language I have not taken, and I feel like I should take a little bit because I know I'm not saying some stuff right, and then I'm kind of like, well, I don't want to say this wrong. And then
what I like about the Italians compared to some other languages, they sort of don't care. Like as long as you try, they're like, great, and they sort of speak along with you. I mean, I moved here, I didn't speak Italian very well. they just were kind of very welcoming. It was as a like, come speak our language, try this. And when I would make a mistake, like if I would say, um, the word for hairbrush is spazzola, but if I would say spazzola, they would repeat it correctly. They wouldn't stop me from saying it or be like, oh, that's wrong. They just say it correctly. So then you kind of pick it up like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
Right. Like, if I pronounce wrong, something incredibly wrong here in is this Middle English? Is it Middle English?
I think
I think so, but I don't even know.
I want to say so.
There's like by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. Am I saying that right? I don't know. But
well, he's not here to correct us. We can say whatever we want.
Anyway.
But, he can say whatever we want because Shakespeare's like, he's heard worse.
I like this line, but thy eternal summer shall not fade. I like that. I like that. I find this sonnet optimistic. That you will continue. Whether you will continue because I've written about you, or you will continue because I'm thinking of you, or you will continue because you are in my heart or in my thoughts. I like these sonnets for that reason, because they make me feel hopeful. And I've found that during this COVID time, apart from not diving into my wine glass, which I've done quite often, head first, full body encounter, and it's hard times to find here. I'm a news hound, so I'm always watching the news, and it's not great.
Hold on, who's there? Somebody's at my door. If there's a box, please leave it. I don't know.
Is it really somebody there?
Yes. Yes, and I feel like it's a delivery. So hold on a second.
All right. I'm going to read the sonnet.
Just reading a sonnet. I'll be right there.
You ready?
Oh.
Didn't memorize it, but I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a day. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often in his gold complexion dimmed. And
all right, I'm back.
Good. I only got through half of it because not only that, I have readers and I need glasses. I need real glasses. But
and then he scolded me. He's like, I've been texting you. I felt my phone, but I'm like, I'm on a video call. So sorry about that. He gave me the side eye and
What'd you get?
I don't even know. I took the box and I'm just like, what? Like he just gave me side eye. He's like, I've been calling you. I've been texting you. I'm like, I'm on a video call. What do you want me to do? And I'm like, as everybody knows, I get packages all throughout the day. But what time is it? Oh, it's not that late. Oh, well. All right. So sorry. Thank you, Susannah. Ooh, boy. And he was nasty. What are you going to do? So back to wine. Do you have any suggestions for the holidays? Some Italian wines.
I do.
Like as we get into the Thanksgiving will be here, but as we get into the Christmas Hallmark movie.
Absolutely. So I definitely do. So one wine that I want to suggest just for Thanksgiving, because it's not that well known, but it should be. So a lot of people drink Beaujolais at Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
So there's an Italian grape. It's called Gropello. It's from Lake Garda. It's from Garda DOC, Garda Classico. And it's amazing. And it's like an Italian version of Beaujolais. And it's really great. Or Dolcetto from Piedmont could be great with turkey. If you're a turkey eater, not too heavy. So that would be my Thanksgiving pairing ideas.
Wonderful.
For Italian wine. And of course, Lugano to start. It's a great textured wine. And if you're not a red wine person, it's a great white red wine. So then as we get to Christmas, there's so many sparkling wines from Italy. I love sparkling wine. I know you do too. I saw you on champagne videos, popping corks here, there, and everywhere. But
Everywhere, just everywhere.
everywhere. But Italian sparkling wine is fantastic, and there are many of them. There's, of course, Franciacorta, there's Trento Doc, there's a wonderful traditional method called Alta Langa from Piedmont, but we don't have that much of it here in the States
I
yet.
was gonna say I don't know if I've had that.
Yeah, no, it's not really here yet. And there's another one that I love, but only like 2 producers make it here that come here. I think it's called Durello, is the name of the wine, but the grape is Durella with an A. And a producer named Fattori makes an amazing one that I love. And T. Edwards brings that in. So those are some great sparkling wines. But of course, let's not mention Prosecco. I love Prosecco.
I don't.
Prosecco. I do. I do. You just haven't found the Prosecco for you yet.
No, I've found some that I like, but it is not my traditional method is my favorite, or other parts of Italy. I've actually had this conversation with Prosecco producers. It's not my favorite. It will never be. It's fine. But feel free to mention some good Proseccos.
There are some really good Proseccos. There's a lot of great Rive, this very steep vineyards.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice Prosecco. So that's the sparkling wine category. Then, if you're a white wine lover, which I am, there's a lot of great Lugana, of course. Alto Adige also makes beautiful white wines, not to be ignored. Oh, I forgot a wine for Thanksgiving. Sorry. It's a wine from Liguria, which I love. It's called Rossese di Dolce Acqua. It's a red wine, but it's kind of a lighter skinned and a lighter wine in the glass. It's called Rossese di Dolce Acqua, and it's from Liguria, and it's great. So for Christmas, what are you eating at Christmas? You celebrate Hanukkah. What do you eating?
I celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas because I like Christmas. I love the pagan holidays. I don't know what I'm eating yet. I mean, because now who knows where I'll be or what I'll be doing. But I like to think of this whole sipping season as I do love me some Hallmark movies. So I'm about to start that whole, what will I be? Thank goodness I've gotten a lot of sparkling this season. I'm going to be popping bubbles a lot while I watch the cheesiest stuff ever. So if you could think in terms of that, because I know a lot of people will be watching movies at home, like what's good to sip as we're snacking, having our popcorn.
You know what I really love, and I don't know if you like them because most of them are made with the tank method, but you like Lambrusco?
I do.
I love Lambrusco.
It's wonderful. That's a good one.
I love Lambrusco. Because I love sparkling wine, and I also really like red wine. So a sparkling red wine makes me happy.
Yeah, that's great for the holidays or anytime. So
I think Lambrusco is incredibly festive and kind of works with people who like red wine. It works with people who like sparkling wine. It works with people. I mean, Lambrusco di Sorbara is the lightest of the Lambrusco, but somebody who likes, let's say, Legrine, like a big red wine, might like Lambrusco Grasparosa, which is a heavier Lambrusco. So Lambrusco is one. Then there's a sparkling wine, which you may never have had, from Campania. It's called Gragnano. Have you ever had Gragnano?
I feel like I have.
I love Gragnano. And these are great pizza wines. So if you're getting pizza, eating popcorn is popcorn is my favorite food.
Best thing ever.
Everybody, but it's the truth.
And it's great with sparkling wine. If you have not had popcorn and sparkling wine, you are missing a piece of life.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
I'm going to make popcorn later. Anyway, so it's and I don't know, maybe I'll watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's my kid, but it's so Gragnano and Lambrusco are fun pizza wines to watch TV and have popcorn. Then, if you are somebody who's celebrating Hanukkah, let's say you're having brisket, let's say you're having I don't know, roast beef at Christmas. Like I will probably have brisket at Hanukkah and probably have roast beef at Christmas, even though I was supposed to become vegetarian a couple of months ago. It worked out as I was.
It's not working out. Yeah, okay.
Maybe in January. I'll try that. I was vegetarian for 2 years. I've never felt.
Okay.
I never wanted to tell you the truth, but it's hard in this moment for me. Anyway, to be vegetarian. So, if I were having roast beef, Aglianico, the one you're drinking, perfect. I love Aglianico.
How about, let's go back to Hanukkah for a second. Latkes. What are you having with latkes?
Latkes. Would you believe I only started eating latkes last year?
What? What?
I know. I'm like a false Jewish person. I mean, theoretically, like
Just a New York person. Like back to, you have to go have latkes when you watch Shakespeare in the Park. Just make that happen. So you can really like New York.
I'm having like a really oily latke, like a fried one. Really
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would I have? Let me think about that. Have to think about that because I would probably have sparkling wine to like, you know.
That's what I was thinking. Something sparkling. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking something kind of sparkly or something with a little residual sugar. You know, kind of cut through that fried nature of the food. So I'm thinking, my mind is blank. Of course, we haven't talked all about Tuscan wines, and I mean, Sangiovese is my favorite grape. So
I love that grape as well. I love it.
I mean, Sangiovese is like no matter how much I love Italy, there is no part of Italy that I love more than Tuscany because that's where I really feel home. Like when I get off the plane and I get off and I'm walking around Florence, there are people who knew me like, 25 years ago who are like, ciao, Susannah. And I'm like, oh, you recognize me? I look the same. It's so, of course, I love Sangiovese. So Sangiovese should certainly be at your table, whether it's Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, tomorrow, today, every day. Sangiovese at your table. And of course, when I drink a Nebbiolo, I feel like, there's beautiful, elegant wine. I mean, and I could wax poetic about wine from every region of Italy. I mean, it's just such an amazing wine country. I mean, think about the amount of wines that come from Friuli Venezia Giulia, which are fantastic, right? Single monovarietal wines made from interesting grapes like Ribolla Gialla would be great with Lacca. Ribolla Gialla, have you ever had Ribolla Gialla?
Yeah.
So, like a Ribolla Gialla, the first time I had it with food, I remember I was on a date and this guy took me to have sushi. And I was like, in Italy. And I was like, this is amazing. I love this pairing and this combination. Like, those wines like Ribolla Gialla or Malvasia Istriana or Vitosca, like, those great grape varieties that you only get in Italy. Where do you get things like that?
I know.
Like, I know. You don't have anywhere else. Right?
I know.
All of that. I mean, there's so many things that Italy brings to your table at every holiday. And it depends what you're making, right? I mean, we always have the same kinds of foods in my house. We pretty much have the same foods, different sizes and variations, but we're, not that eccentric. But what my parents love Chinese food. So there's a huge amount of Chinese food in my life.
Interesting.
Yes. So I tried with Lugana to do some pairings with Asian cuisines or other cuisines. And I think, you have to have a little sweetness in your wine. So we have to talk all about Riesling. I mean, what could, Riesling may be the greatest white grape variety, right?
Yep.
I mean, there's just so much wine. It's so little time.
I know. Well, and you are the perfect person to talk about Italian wine, like I said, and you make me want to take Italian. So maybe I'm going to work on that.
Well, I am currently, I have a new website, which I don't know that I told you about. And one of the things that I am doing is I am going to teach Italian wine classes. So we can have a talk about wine in Italian, do some basic.
It would be if I was talking. Like,
Well, I mean, but it just because the goal is not necessarily to write a sonnet in Italian, right? The goal is to be able to have a semi-interesting conversation with a winemaker, or if they can't remember a word in English and they want to say it in Italian, to be like, certo, right?
So what is your website? Is it up and running?
SusannaGold.com.
Okay.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as my boy would say. Did you say that growing up? I didn't. I don't know where he got that. It tastes like easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Well, this has been lovely. I unfortunately have to run to it's not unfortunate. I have a rum chat to be on now. So from wine to rum.
A rum chat.
Yeah, I got a rum thing to be on right now.
I love that.
Making old fashions with rum. That's, yeah, which I don't know if I've done enough of, but I will be after tonight. Thank you so much,
Thank
Susannah.
you. That was really fun. Thank you. And sorry about the technical difficulties. And thank you for making me search out my Riverside,
You're big
my big
book.
one.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. And sorry I had to jump out for a second, but I'm glad you got a little piece of Shakespeare with just Goldie here. And thank you everyone. And until next time, peace, love, and cheers.
Cheers to you, Yolanda.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Bye.